You ask, what is devs? This is devs. This is the only principle you need to understand. Nothing ever happens without a reason. Everything was determined by something prior. That's it. Now, take a computer. Give it all the data that can exist about this pen rolling across the table. Its trajectory, velocity, mass of its component parts, atomic structure. What can the computer now tell you? It can tell you how hard the pen was pushed, and it can tell you when the pen will stop rolling. The computer can see backwards. The computer can see forwards. Now do that with everything. Not just the pen. Everything. That's devs.
And even a show like Devs, I don't think they had anything where like sound was amplifying that quantum computer or anything, but sound,
certain
the
sounds,
way that they
though.
played the score
Yes.
with all the interesting sounds.
Because I have a couple of those songs on my playlist, like my daily playlist, and as soon as it comes on, it is just like an immediate, like, calm.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's not like a calm, like
it's
meditative
not calm,
calm.
though.
It's like a,
It's almost like binaural beats or something.
It is, but it's like a lying in wait kind of calm, like calm before the storm, sort of.
Yeah.
It's different than just like peaceful calm,
Right.
But it's
if you think about that show,
Yes.
that was them going, oh my God, we know
Such a good
everything, and you're just in a state of shock, so you're just waiting on it to come. That's
It's like waiting for the other shoe to drop.
that whole
that
kind of
suspense.
vibe. And maybe that's why I brought
calm
why
suspense.
we felt that, because it's not like it's just score or just sound
Right.
design.
It's a
They're
mix of
doing
the
it,
two.
It is a mix, and they're doing it almost
but not
in a,
layered necessarily. But it's like mixed elements is
Yeah.
what I meant to say.
well, and they do a lot of unique sounds within that to almost show you, hey, this is not just how the characters should feel.
Mm-hmm.
This is how they are feeling because of that, the surroundings of that quantum computer. Almost, it was almost like those sounds were making them feel that at that moment.
Well,
those
yeah,
moments.
yeah,
You know what
like
I mean?
almost like hypnotizing
Yeah,
them,
right.
or like subliminal sounds,
Yeah.
sort of. Like sounds that are gonna affect you subliminally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Which is interesting because subliminal messaging, okay, is a real thing. In other words, that's when, and this was tested in the medical and the government also back in the days when a lot of that was still legal.
yeah.
But where they would put messages, they would embed messages into images.
Okay, class, today we are going to talk about subliminal advertising.
What's that?
Scully, are you familiar with subliminal messages?
You mean like sex and ice cubes of liquor ads?
Why would anyone want this shit job?
Because it affords them other interesting opportunities.
Like splicing single frames of pornography into family films?
It's subtle. That's how it works. I show her an image that turns her on. And then she looks at me, then she looks at the image, then back at me, then back at the image. Soon she doesn't know what is me, what is the image. She just knows that she's turned on.
Subliminal. It's a subliminal message Broadwave to trigger her.
I've been seeing this code pop up all over the last few weeks. It's Alliance, and it's high military.
Even
fun at Miage. They keep saying that. Let me play this backwards.
Join the Navy.
They're recruiting people with subliminal messages.
Oh, what do you expect? Those bastards turned a whole generation of Americans into smokers with their damn subliminal advertising.
Timmy, where's Lassie?
She's out in the orchard, Ma. Peaches are coming in mighty early this year.
Smoke.
You know what they say, Timmy. Early peaches, long summer.
Smoke.
What's that, Lassie?
Are you smoking yet?
Subliminal advertising complete.
And they would effectively be able to, I don't want to say like mind control necessarily, but definitely you're putting in subliminal suggestion.
Yeah, right.
Which is to make you think something
is your idea,
but think that it was your idea without manipulation. Now that became illegal in, at some point, and anymore. What does that even mean? Because subliminal messaging is everywhere. But now think about the usage of like what you were saying in devs or about devs or just in general, but devs is a good example of those sounds affecting you subliminally. Like you don't have to see it necessarily to be able to feel it.
Right.
But then like if you think about the characters in that aspect, like they didn't have to see anything to act on what they were hearing,
Right. Yeah.
A subliminal subconscious action based on, what they were hearing. I guess nobody can see me do that.
Had cool visual effects to go with your statement. But
that was just a spasm.
Well, what's funny about that is that's all scoring is really.
Yeah.
And music is.
It is. And that's what I was going to say.
A subliminal suggestion of how to feel at that moment. Sometimes an overt suggestion, depending on what you're listening to. But.
And where do you draw that line? You know what I mean? Like in terms of if you're even thinking just ethically or morally.
Yeah.
In terms of also legality, how much, and the government obviously has so many, has had so many research opportunities around these things, but how much can you control people based on sound?
Let me see your identification.
You don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
He can go about his business.
You can go about your business.
Move along.
Move along. Move along.
And it's actually quite a lot.
Turns out we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, and
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, no, on that topic, it's funny that you brought that up because I remember thinking about that impact when I was fortunate enough to work with a super smart designer by the name of Steven Anderson, and I remember I read his book, The Seduction Seduction of Visual Design, or
yes,
dang it, I can't
something
remember.
like that.
So once again, my memory fails me when it comes to nouns. I was fortunate enough to work with this individual named Steven Anderson, and the book is called Seductive Interaction Design. Highly encourage you guys to pick it up.
I'll plug it back in.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But in there, he was talking. Now, what he said, now pay attention to this, is really smart.
What she said was this.
Yeah. He said, don't tell anybody, but he said that when they were designing these apps and the web thingies,
in the interwebs, is what it is.
Yeah, I think. Is it interwebs?
I think it's interwebs with the 3 W's.
That they need to be
.coms.
They need to be careful. They be careful because they're controlling our minds,
controlling the world.
Yeah, and they don't even know they're doing it,
and maybe even the universe. I'm not real sure,
but it's a real thing. He talked about ethical design in there because you can trick
ethical
people
design. Yeah, that's an interesting concept.
Clicking down paths and tricking them into thinking they, want something when they don't, because you rewarded them. About the reward system of all these games and just the way that process works.
Generally it's not a good idea to click on any internet offers that you haven't requested. What was the exact offer?
It was for a video.
Yeah, what kind of video?
A celebrity sex tape.
Really? What kind of celebrity?
Not relevant.
How much you pay for it?
Not relevant.
You paid for it?
It all happened so fast.
Because what'll happen is that they will. That's an interesting topic you bring up, because they will draw people to click on things like clickbait, sort of. Mm-hmm. And then before they know it, now they've either paid for something that they didn't realize they paid for, or subscribes to something that they didn't realize they subscribed to that still, again, costs money. And there's some level of ethics that, goes along with that type of design, because you have to make your intent, well, maybe not in all countries, but at least here where it's governed, you have to make that intent known.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
You should.
Wish I could, but I can't. Well, can, but won't. Should, maybe, but shorn't.
Michael, please.
What part of shornt don't you understand?
But again, it's that level of human touch, that allows for the loopholes. They can see around those loopholes, so they still, within this narrow line of gray area, get away with certain things, right?
That's like that Pussifer song where he's talking about, now you can, the preacher, you can walk right up to that line, but you can't sniff it.
You can't sniff it.
You can't sniff that line. You can walk right up to it.
We're on? Okay. Good evening and welcome one and all to where's the line? I am Reverend Soke, sometimes mispronounced suck it, but it's okay. We are here to share a snack and chit-chat about how much fun a religion can be without crossing over the line into sin. You just don't need to cross the line as we will demonstrate. We already have a bunch of people messaging in via Tweaker and iFace and whatnot with questions for where's the line with Reverend Soke. Our first message in question is coming in from Father Mutter from Xenia, Ohio, and he wants to know how far can we go, Reverend? Can we touch the line? And the answer is no, Father. No, Father. To touch it would be to cross it. Look, people, it's very simple. It's very simple. Y'all can have as much fun as your tummy can take. You just can't cross the line of sin. As tempting as that tasty plate of fresh baked sin may appear, damnation and hellfire are saturating the very plate on which it is delivered unto you. Will we have a second caller?
But yeah, so I mean the the level of ethics that goes along with it. I mean, that's a whole nother ethics sound design now.
Yeah.
That based on what we were initially talking about, but I'd be interested to know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about like violent movies with all the gunshots and the sounds of death and all of that, it's very easy to see why, particularly kids who they may know the difference, obviously, between fake and reality, but the fact of the matter is that sound and those images and that everything is being dumped into their brain, basically like conditioning almost subliminally, and that's why for a long time there was remember the battle of the explicit lyrics, right? When we were teenagers.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance, so back on up, cause you know we're about to rip shit up. Give me the microphone first so I can bust like a bubble. Compton and Long Beach together, now you know you in trouble. Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. Too loped out niggas, so it crazy. Death Row is the label that pays me. Unfadable, so please don't try to fake this. But it's like this and like that and like this and it's like that and like this and like that and it's like this and like that and like this and Drake creep to the mic like a fan. Well, I'm peeping and I'm creeping and I'm creeping.
You know, so that battle went on for a really long time, and then of course explicit content on TV and the board that's behind that, right? So because it is known, the government has known this long before stuff like this was broadcast out, that these things can affect you.
Yeah.
You know?
Big time.
Visually, physically, and audibly.